Authority Hacker, and I want to first of all thank you for coming and for following us. Whether you just discovered us last night and just signed up to the email list, or you've been reading us since the first blog post that we have released on Authority Hacker, which I highly doubt, to be honest. It was pretty bad and we had no audience back then, so it's pretty unlikely, but if you're somewhere in between, thank you for joining. Mark and I, in the next 90 to 120 minutes, we'll try to give you a super valuable time and share as much value as we can. We'll share a ton of actionable information. We'll share our own personal templates that we personally use. And essentially, we're going to give you a step-by-step plan that you can follow to start your own authority website in a profitable way, the same way we did it about 4 years ago. At the end, we will also talk about our beginners community called the Authority Site System and explain what's inside, and as well as give you guys a special deal. But first, let's jump into the actual content that you came here for. Here's my promise to you. By the end of this presentation, you will have everything that you need to start a 4 figures per month website with a minimum budget. You could be making 5, you could be making 6 figures, but I can guarantee you that at least you can make 4 figures in pretty much any niche. And this includes all the tactics that you need to find profitable niches, all the tools that you will need to actually do the work, all the content types that you will need to learn how to produce, all the keyword research tactics that we use and that you will need to create that kind of site, and all the link building tactics that you will need as well. Actually, this training is so comprehensive that internally, I was considering selling it for around $30 to $50 and then upselling our Authority Site System course. I am not doing it today. It's 100% free. So enjoy it because maybe we'll change our mind at some point. If you stay until the end, we've also prepared you a special gift in the form of a goodie bag, including all the templates that we mentioned into this webinar and a bunch more resources that we just don't have time to go through because it's so packed with information. So if you want to take some stuff more in depth, you need to stay until the end because I'll give you this goodie bag and you'll have access to information that other people will not have. Before we jump in, let me just make sure that you are in the right place. So I'm going to give you examples of the kind of people this training is going to help the most. First of all, beginners. If you are starting with online marketing and you want to learn how to do it properly without shortcuts and with a real shot at making money online, this is the right place. This system is 100% beginner friendly. Second, lurkers. If you have been reading online marketing blogs and online marketing forums for a long time, but you haven't taken action yet, the material you're going to find tonight inside this presentation is so actionable and so easy for some of these things to do that you should be able to take small steps and finally get a little bit of results and then get going and get out of this just reading, not taking action loop that you can find yourself into when you get started with online marketing. Third, it's for the people that want to quit their job or their freelance gig. I mean, we were in this situation a couple years ago with Mark and we didn't enjoy our life and we wanted to get rid of our agency. And we used the system that we are going to teach you tonight to get out of it. Now we work 100% on our websites and there's a good chance that you could be doing the same like many of our members have. Then it's also for people who have tried online marketing before but have failed. And the truth is, it's probably not your fault. I mean, a lot of the methods that are there lack of structure, I feel, to properly guide their students, so then they get caught with things like shiny object syndrome and so on. But it's not the case here. Everything is extremely structured and systematized, so it's really hard to get off track and it's really hard to fail. So you should be at the right place tonight if you failed before. Finally, it's also for people looking to scale things up, people that have had a little bit of success creating websites but haven't made, the life-changing money that they were hoping for. Because everything is so systematized and so replicable that we're going to be showing you tonight, you're probably going to get a different perspective on things that you might have done already in terms of making some money online, but being unable to scale it. You will see exactly how you could be scaling it by being more efficient at these things. So you will love this webinar. So that's basically the kind of people that will benefit the most from this presentation. Now, another question I will probably have in the chat right now is why should I listen to this guy? Who is this guy anyway with his weird French accent? Well, my name's Gael Breton and I do online marketing since 2009, and I've been doing it in the North American market for the most part. With Mark, my business partner, we run large business to consumer websites sites like healthambition.com for a living. We're not the kind of bloggers that only teach online marketing. We actually do what we preach, and we share some of our URLs with our followers so that they can see what we talk about in real life, and they can also see, most importantly, that we invest our own money in the methods that we teach, which I guess gives them some credit, because we throw a lot of money at content on sites like Health Ambition, for example, and for a good reason. I mean, these sites are doing quite well for us. We're well into the 7 figures per year with our multiple businesses, and you can see some screenshots that I quickly took this morning as a proof of that. And it's not just us, right? We have helped over 2,500 Authority Hacker Pro and Authority Site System members generate real income with our no BS tactics. I mean, you can see Dan Barnard here, who started his first website in March 2016, and in October 2017, he quit his job. And a couple of months after, he's making 4 times as much as his old job with his new site, and he's got staff and he's doing quite well. And he's not the only one. This is the example of someone that did quite well and went quite far in the process. We've also helped a lot of people recently make their first dollars online, which is not easy. It's really hard when you get started to make your first money, but with trainings like the Authority Site System, we have seen people that have never made money before make money online for the first time and be well on their path to actually quit their job this year. People like Robert Botha, who started in January 2017, and by August was making $8,513 in a month. And when I pinged him in December, he was making over $23,000 per month. I actually have a full interview with Robert on authorityhacker.com/undercover2. So if you want to listen to an hour interview or so of me and Robert talking with each other, then you will be able to find it on this URL. And additionally, large IM personalities like Noah Kagan or Tim Solo from Ahrefs are recommending us to their audience and use our training for their own companies to train their staff. So I guess if the biggest SEO tool company is using our training to train their staff in SEO, we're doing okay. So that's why I think you should be listening to us. Now, as we jump in, please avoid any kind of distraction. As you can see, I speak pretty fast and I'm making a lot of efforts not to speak too fast right now. So try to avoid Skype, try to avoid Facebook, because really this is the highest value free webinar that we've ever done. And we could really have charged for it. So before we start, take a second to breathe and visualize. How would you feel if you built and owned a website generating 4 to 5 times the income you make from a full-time job? What would you do with the time? What would you add to your life that you're unable to add now? Use this vision and hold on to it while I'm doing the presentation, because this should give you the motivation to take action as soon as possible to make this happen. So let's get started. Let's talk about the business model, because step 1 is to have a clear vision and keep the end goal in mind. And the end goal is to make money, to have a return on investment. So my question, what I always ask before we start a website is, where is the money? So it's important that you understand how websites make money. There's really 3 main ways websites make money. Now they all take different forms, but really it boils down to these 3 things. The first one is advertising, which means putting blocks of ads that people pay for to promote their products on your website. It usually requires a lot of traffic to make decent money, but you don't need a lot of trust from this traffic. Even shitty sites that have advertising, you wouldn't mind clicking on them because you know it's actually not served by these sites. Now, advertising can take also the form of native advertising, where essentially advertisers pay publishers to mention them in blog posts, but it's kind of the same thing. The second one is affiliate marketing, where you get paid for the product sales of someone else's product. It does not require as much traffic, but it requires traffic of people that will buy the product, because if people don't buy, you don't get paid. So the amount of traffic needed is definitely lower. The potential revenue is definitely a lot higher, but you need the right kind of people landing on your site, so it's a little bit more tricky. The third way of making money is to sell stuff to your audience. That can be virtual stuff like courses, like services, that kind of stuff, or real stuff like physical products. It's by far the highest profit that you can make from a website, but it's also the hardest to achieve. There is a lot of moving pieces. You have customer service, you have marketing, you have processing payments, you have delivery, logistics. All of that needs to be managed at the same time, which is definitely a challenge, especially if you're a beginner. And on top of that, to actually get people to swipe their credit card on your website, you need to earn their trust, which takes quite a bit of work. and people won't be paying on any website. They need to feel good about this website. So in terms of profit, it goes ads, which is the lowest profit but the easiest, affiliate marketing, which is a little bit harder but also makes a lot more money than ads, and third, selling your own stuff. That's what makes the most money. Based on these monetization models, what we've done is we've built a 3-step model that focuses on return on investment and webmaster skill growth. It assumes absolutely no prior knowledge, so if you're a beginner, that's fine. And it's been used by many of our members that I mentioned earlier, and I'll mention many more at the end. Each stage builds on top of each other, so you get to stack up revenue from all kinds of monetization methods. So let me explain these stages to you. The first stage, stage 1, authority website, focuses on affiliate revenue and what we call on-page sales. Essentially, this website is going to be talking about products that people are looking to buy, and it's going to be using affiliate links to sell other people's products. And when people click through and buy the product, you will get paid. So that is the business model. The goal is to show up on Google for these product names and related product queries, get clicks, and get paid. That is stage 1. Stage 2 is all about developing other channels of traffic and acquiring what we call your own audiences. So things like social media, things like email list, and additionally, there is other types of content that will be added to this site. So it's all about creating your own channels and then using these channels to also push affiliate offers and monetize with advertising, because you're going to be creating a lot more content. Stage 3 is the final stage of an authority site, and it's going to be about selling your own products for maximum profit using the audiences you've been building in stage 2, the traffic you've been building in stage 1, to convert it to something that makes more money, which tends to be your own products and services. It's often courses, and then it moves to e-commerce and physical products, and you can essentially climb the ladder within stage 3. One thing that is interesting to know though is that you don't have to go to the next stage. You can just stick to the one that works. Many sites stay at stage 1 forever and they're making a lot of money and they're very happy with it. Now let's zoom into each stage so I can just explain a little bit more how each one works, right? So let's talk about stage 1. Stage 1 focuses on on-page affiliate marketing, like I said, which is people landing from Google on your site and clicking through affiliate links and buying, and you get paid, right? So you are going to be creating content that talks about product and that is attracting people that are already looking to buy. You're not really convincing them, you're more helping them make a final decision. Additionally to the product-focused content, you will be creating high-quality informational content. The reason why you do that is, first of all, to increase the relevancy of your site in the eyes of Google on the topic that you've picked, on the niche that you've picked, so that it will rank the whole site higher. Second, this high-quality informational content will be used for link building. And link building is essentially other websites linking to your website, and that increases your ranking in Google. We will talk about link building. There's a whole section about this in this webinar, so if you're here for that, it's coming soon. The reason why we picked affiliate revenue initially is because it makes quite good money without the hassle of managing your own product, which takes a lot more work. It can also get results pretty quickly if you do it properly. And for any kind of site that you run, even if you run a stage 3 site, having a blanket passive income of affiliate earnings of several $1,000s per month is really nice. It covers your expenses. It can also serve to buy your time back. So if you have a job or if you're a freelancer, getting a couple $1,000s per month is what's going to allow you to not have this job anymore and focus 100% on your website and grow it in the later stages without having that hassle of dealing with other things in your life. It's also fairly uncompetitive right now, so it's pretty easy to make money from these sites, to be honest. The goal from these kind of sites is not to be a millionaire. It's usually, I'd say, between $2,000 and $10,000 a month. I mean, you saw Robert earlier who makes like $22K a month from this kind of site, so you can make a lot more. But I'd say overall, getting to 5 figures is the goal of these kind of stage 1 sites, right? So now let's talk about each type of content you're going to be producing on this kind of site. First of all, there's the best text for why, which is going to be your bread and butter. It's a roundup of products good for a specific situation. For example, best shoes for deadlifting. That's an example I take a little bit later in the presentation, so we'll dive into this. But like, people are doing deadlift in the gym, they want the best shoes to do deadlift. what are they? And when people type these kind of queries, they're really looking to buy. So it's a really good type of content to write on your website. Second, we have single product reviews, which are focused on, very specific products. So for example, Reebok Nano 7 reviews, those are CrossFit shoes. People who do CrossFit, they definitely Google that kind of stuff. And once again, when they Google a review keyword, they are looking to buy these products. So you can just have affiliate links to that product on this page and make money from this. Then we have things like X versus Y, which is, for example, Vitamix blender versus Blendtec blender. And then people that are looking to buy a blender, they will type these kind of keywords as well. You can have affiliate links and make money from this. And then the big contents, there will be more like ultimate guides. So like, for example, the ultimate guide to Romanian deadlifting. That would be one I would put on this powerlifting website example that I'm just making up right now. And I would write about this because it would be easy to convince people to link to this when they talk about deadlifting or Romanian deadlifting in that case on their website. So that is the kind of content that we'll be creating on stage 1 websites. Now let's talk a little bit about stage 2 websites. One important thing to know is that you maintain the activities that you had in stage 1. So you can keep producing best text for Ys, product reviews, ultimate guides, etc. You just add more on top as you have more money coming in and you can hire writers and things like this. So the goal of stage 2 is to build audiences with things like push notification, email marketing, social media, Facebook retargeting, anything that allows you to essentially build an audience and market to them. Then once you have built this audience, the goal is to engage and promote affiliate offers to these audiences. At this point, you still don't have your own products, but you have, let's say, an email list of 10, 20, 30,000 people that you can email, high-paying affiliate offers to and make thousands of dollars per email that you send, provided they buy. And what is really powerful with stage 2 is that by building these audiences and promoting to them, you're learning what sells, and you're essentially educating yourself about the high end of your niche. You know what products the people in this niche buy a lot and what products they don't buy. And what is important about this is that in a perspective of going to stage 3, where you have your own products, when you have all this information of affiliate offers that sell and don't sell, it tells you exactly what kind of product you should be creating. So that's really powerful. On top of that, to get more traffic to your website so that you can build your audiences, like your email list, your retargeting list, your push notification list, etc., you do tend to expand informational content. So you create new types of content like question posts, answering popular questions. And then to monetize this extra content, not only do you build your audiences and promote products to them, but you also use advertising. So you can put blocks of ads on these kind of new types of content, and they allow you to make your money back on top of building audiences, which adds a lot more revenue potential for your website. We also use these extra types of content for more link building, which means that all the pages that promote affiliate offers, the best text for Y, the product reviews, etc., they will also tend to rank higher as you move into stage 2 because you are building more links essentially. So the new activities of stage 2 include more frequent posting. You'll ideally post several times a week, maybe even every day. More informational content compared to monetized content. So in stage 1, we tend to do 80% monetized content, so product-related content, 20% informational content. In stage 2, it tends to be the opposite. It tends to be 80% informational content, 20% commercial content, because we build these audiences, because we already have a lot of commercial content that can make money for us, etc. Another activity that we add as well is regular emailing of both new content and commercial content to your email list or to your push notification list, etc. You're just going to be marketing to these audiences essentially. And finally, you're going to have to do things like managing advertising. So putting advertising blocks on your site, a lot of it is automated, and we talk about this in our trainings. Social media as well, since you're going to be building social media followers, you're going to want to engage them, so you're going to want to regularly post on there, etc. And you're going to be using social media to generate traffic to your informational content as well and grow your brand on these networks. So all these activities are added on top of stage 1 sites activities. So the new types of contents that you are going to be pushing on stage 2 sites are question posts, where you just answer a popular question to snag traffic for it, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. We have how-to posts that are essentially tutorial posts, so like how to tie your shoelaces, for example, would probably be a good keyword. Probably not the most interesting, but this has search volume for sure. We have curation posts as well that essentially are finding cool stuff in your industry and reshape it on your blog. Roundups, where you invite other bloggers to give an answer to a popular question, and guest posts, like you let other people post on your site so you get free content essentially. So that's basically stage 2. And then after that we have stage 3, which essentially encompasses everything that we've talked about, except that usually you're going to be swapping successful affiliate promos for your own version of the product. This way you already have the basic funnels, you've already been promoting offers, and then you can just use these promotion emails you've been using, etc., to promote your own products and make more money rather than just a commission. You increase your margin by supplying the product, and then you make more money essentially. So it's really a good time to launch your products because, well, now you have your own audiences. You have an email list, you have a push list, you have social media followers, etc. Because you've been making money with stage 1 and stage 2, you have money to spend on building high quality products, maybe buying stock if you're doing physical products, that kind of stuff. You have relationships as well that can affiliate you. When you've been promoting other people's products via an email list, you can just ask them to return the favor and promote your stuff, right? And you have a really good insight into what sells and what doesn't sell in your niche at this point. So it's the good time to launch a product, and you have so much market information that it's really hard to fail. New activities for stage 3 sites include creating audio and video content, creating sales funnels to sell your own products, creating products, recruiting affiliates to promote your products, and buying traffic to also promote your products. So that is pretty advanced, but that's not what we're focusing on today. I just wanted you to have a bird's eye view. Today, we only focus on stage 1 sites, and that's going to allow me to go so much deeper into showing you exactly what to do. So let's jump into the plan of action for tonight. First, we're going to learn how to pick a profitable niche for a stage 1 site. Second, we're going to learn how to plan a site that actually makes money. 3, we're going to learn to build a site that looks trustworthy to both Google and our visitors. 4th, we're going to learn how to create content that converts visitors into buyers for your affiliate offers and makes you money. 5, I'm going to show you all the link building tactics that you need so that you can make sure that this content shows up for the keywords it targets on Google, and that's how you make money. So let's jump into it. Step 1, picking the right niche. And in case you didn't know, a niche is essentially the angle or industry your website is going to be about. So like parenting or skateboarding or, anything that the site is about essentially. The question that a lot of people ask is, why is picking the right niche so important? Well, to put it lightly, if you pick the wrong niche, it doesn't matter if you do everything else that I'm going to show you in this webinar right, you'll probably not make money because you need a specific set of settings for a niche to make money, especially if you select only stage 1 authority sites. So after I explain that to people, the question I often get is, what makes a good niche? What is a niche that you can pick and make money in? And the key to finding a good niche is to start with the end, because you don't pay your bills in keywords. You don't pay your bills in search traffic. You pay your bills with money. So where you need to start is where the money is. And the way to do that is figuring out something that you can sell via affiliate marketing for stage 1 sites. So finding an offer or a group of offers within a similar niche. Then the next step is to identify keywords that potential buyers for the products that you can promote with these offers use to find these products online. And the final step is to make sure that the competition is not too tough for these keywords, so you stand a decent chance of showing up for the keywords that you picked in a reasonable amount of time. So you don't want to wait like 2 years before you can show up for these keywords. Now, I'm not saying that you need to absolutely 100% profile everything in your future business here, but you need to see enough opportunities within one niche to say, yeah, let's do this. It's realistic for me to make money in this niche. So when you have that, that's when you know it's a good niche. So we're going to zoom in and show you exactly each step. So the first step, as I said, is finding things that you can sell and make money from. And it's not just anything you can sell. If you have any kind of long-term vision for your site, it's also important that you pick quality products so that your audience actually trusts you and trusts your recommendations and comes back for more recommendations. Most people will start with the Amazon Associate program for affiliate marketing, and it's an excellent choice. It's the one that we usually recommend for people just getting started. We do that with many of our sites with great success, and it means that you can recommend basically most Amazon products and get paid for that recommendation. The good thing with Amazon is they convert very highly as well. So the traffic you send tends to make quite good money. Really, to get started, all you need to do is Google Amazon Associate Programs. And the first page that's going to show up is going to be Amazon. The second is us, I think. But the first one is going to be Amazon. So go there and sign up, and you can basically start promoting any Amazon product in minutes. We actually wrote a huge guide on the Amazon Associates program only on the blog, and you can see the URL on the screen. So if you're in a niche that has a lot of physical products, and really if you're looking for the easiest affiliate marketing program out there, it's probably the Amazon Associates program. Even though they reduced commissions a little bit last year, it's still very profitable, and most of our members are using that. But I'm going to show you some alternatives as well, so we don't just get locked on Amazon. We have plenty of sites making money outside of Amazon as well. And we actually have a whole blog post as well on that. You can see the URL on your screen with something like 55 affiliate programs that you can use. Here's some of the biggest ones. These are actually affiliate networks that I recommend you check out for offers because they're really good. You can also sign up in minutes, so just Google their names. Commission Junction, ShareASale, ClickBank, Peerfly, Flex Offers, and there's many others. Actually, you can check the blog post. So what I did is I went to Peerfly in that case, and I found a pretty interesting offer that I thought for an anti-wrinkle cream for men that pays $28 per conversion. Essentially, people sign up for a free trial, sign up for a rebill, and then they send you $28 every time you convert someone on that form. And I was like, okay, the wrinkle market for men looks interesting. So I went to OfferVault and Odigger.com. These are search engines for affiliate offers to try to look for more wrinkle type offers. And yep, I found a bunch of other wrinkle offers, and usually you want to find more than one offer in your niche if you want to use one. If I'm combining this with all the anti-wrinkle products on Amazon and multiple networks and so on, I can find a lot of offers that would make the wrinkle niche pretty interesting. So that is how I would, for example, pick my first niche idea, by just looking for offers on these networks, looking on Amazon, etc. The second point that we talked about earlier was, is there people looking to buy the products you can promote? So I took another example so that you guys get plenty of examples. In this case, I went back to my powerlifting example that I took earlier, and I searched for deadlift shoes on Amazon. And as you can see, there's plenty of items for sale that I could be promoting. They're not that cheap, so I could make decent money if I actually get people to buy them. And then I am using a tool called Ahrefs that you can find on ahrefs.com. It is not the cheapest tool. It costs $99 per month, but they have a $7 trial that you can use. It is my number one go-to tool for SEO. That's the only one I really recommend, other than maybe one outreach tool. It is by far the best. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to make no apology for it, because the data they have is the best in the market. And really, there's no free alternative for keyword research anymore. So what I do is I go in the Keyword Explorer tool. So once you log in, once you've created your trial account, you can go there. And I've just typed the product or the product category that I'm looking for, in that case, deadlift shoes. And what I'm looking for usually is I'm looking for a decent search volume around that product category, usually a bunch of keywords with like 500 to 1,000 search volume, and a couple hundred keywords usually tells me that there is a market for this. In that case, yeah, there is. I mean, you can see that deadlift shoes is a 2,000 searches per month keyword. KD is keyword difficulty, meaning Ahrefs' idea of how difficult it would be to rank for this keyword. In this case, 0 is very good. The lowest means easiest. So this is actually very good. 2,000 people searching every month for deadlift shoes and little competition. So that is a very interesting market, the powerlifting market. So by just doing that, by identifying a product category, and I could do wrinkle creams and I could do any category that I have identified an offer for, I can say, well, that is an interesting market. So essentially, Step 2 of my niche validation has been confirmed here. Once you have identified categories where you can find an offer and there is good search volume, you need to get an idea of how hard it is to show for these keywords, because it doesn't matter if a lot of people are searching for these keywords. If you have no chance of ranking in Google for them, you're going to make no money. So really, it's quite important to nail that one. In that case, I typed best deadlift shoes on the keyword tool in Ahrefs. And when you scroll to the bottom, you essentially get a breakdown of the top 10 search results. And you get a bunch of metrics around the pages that are ranking that gives you an idea of how difficult it would be to rank for this keyword. In that case, what I'm looking for is sites below domain rating 45 to 50 ranking on page 1. And as you can see, there is 4 of them, and there's 3 of them domain rating 47, so it's not that far from 45. So yeah, it's fairly easy. And then on top of that, I'm looking at the number of backlinks pointing to the page's ranking. And when I see pages with 0 backlinks or 1 backlink, it tells me that these domains don't have a lot of authority, and on top of that, they don't have a lot of links pointing to the page ranking. So these things together essentially tell me it's a fairly easy keyword. So that's what I'm looking for. And in this case, yeah, best deadlift shoes is a good keyword to go after. It's not the absolute easiest, but it's definitely doable. So this is essentially a rundown of the 3 questions you need to answer to validate a niche. 1, can I find products for sale that will pay me money for affiliate offers? 2, is there people looking to buy these products? 3, can I show up on Google for the related keywords? It's quite simple, but what I'm gonna do is a lot of people, after I tell them that, they're like, okay, super great, but I still have no idea what niche to pick. So what niche should you go for? And we're going to talk about this now. Essentially, there's 3 categories of niches that we tend to recommend people go after. It's passion niches. So something like, volleyball, or something like horseback riding, that kind of stuff. Problems, so something like acne, something like fear of public speaking, that kind of stuff. Or lifestyle. So that could be parenting, that could be pet ownership, and then you can go deeper, right? It can be pets, or it can be dogs, or it can be chihuahuas. You can go a little bit deeper and kind of like zooming into these sub niches. But essentially, we like these 3, and here's why. First of all, people spend money in their passions, in their problems, and in their lifestyles. For example, in paintball here, you can see, look at the amount of gear these people have. They have this mask, they have their outfit, they have their guns. I'm telling you, they have protections under their outfit. They spend a lot of money in these things. And it's the same for passions, it's the same for lifestyles, and the same for problem. Another quite interesting thing about these types of niches is they tend to have industry jargon that mainstream sites don't go for. So you will never see the Huffington Post write about Tipman Cronus upgrades. I'm not even sure what this is, but this has 350 searches per month. And I'm telling you, paintball people, they do Google that stuff. And so you're going to be competing with less strong sites because, Wikipedia and the Huffington Post and the big magazine sites, they don't write for it. So you can actually go after it. And third, well, the sites in these niches, they tend to not be that strong. I mean, this is one of the best sites I could find in paintball, and it's definitely something I can build. I can probably build something better than this. So they also tend to not have ultra efficient online marketing systems. So with the stuff I'm going to keep sharing with you guys, you definitely have an edge in these markets. So that's why we tend to like passions, problems, and lifestyles. So now let's do a live example because I know you guys want to see real life stuff. So let's do it. One of my ideas is like, hey, I could make a fishing site, right? A fishing, it is a passion. People do spend a lot of money in gear for fishing, and I want to see if it is a good niche. So I'm going back to my 3 questions. 1, can I sell stuff? 2, is there people looking to buy this stuff on Google? 3, can I beat my competition? And I've been a bit lazy to find something for sale. I just went on Amazon and I actually found that they have a substore for fishing. And I expect most of you guys will go there and use Amazon to, find offers. So I have just started with Amazon. There's plenty of items and they actually give me a bunch of subcategories, which will help me with finding keywords and sub niches that I can target within the fishing niche. Another thing that I would recommend you do if you are going for Amazon is that you look for the commission rate of the category that you are looking to promote, because some of them, as you can see, it's like 1%. If you want to do video games, you're not going to make a lot of money. Even television, digital, etc. Usually anything tech doesn't work. Even toys, 3% is not that great. Really, I would look from 4.5%. 4.55% is when it gets quite good with Amazon. I have put the URL of the page where you can find the current commission rates. It might change over time, so you should be looking at this. So essentially, in my case, fishing is 5.5%, so I am happy with that. It's good enough, and I think I can make some money here. Now, what I want to do is I will zoom into a subcategory, which is fishing rods, essentially. I found this category on Amazon. Do people search for fishing rods? Are there small sites that do well? How do they make money? Can I beat them? Let's figure that out. So I fire up Ahrefs, and I type best fishing rod in there. And I try to evaluate if there's people looking to buy those Amazon items. And indeed, there are quite a bit. I mean, if you look at best fishing rods, there's 2,100 people searching for it. Keyword difficulty is still below 5, so it's quite low. Best BDO, best fishing rod, I have no idea what this is. Best fishing pole, which is the same thing, 800. And so, yeah, there is people looking to buy these items. So I have confirmed that. Now, what I've done is I've zoomed in even more, and I have picked the keyword best telescopic fishing rod that you can find on the previous slide. As you can see, it's like the 6th or 7th one. And I wanted to see exactly how many people search for it. In this case, 910 people search for it every month. And there is 0 keyword difficulty. And the parent keyword, telescopic fishing rod, has 2,400 searches per month. So it looks very interesting. It's very low competition with decent volume. So what I'm doing is I'm reopening the same screen that I took for the deadlifting shoes and looking at the domain rating. And as you can see, like number 1 is domain rating 17. As we said, anything below 45 is fairly low. Anything below 25 is really low. Number 1 is 17 domain rating. Number 2 is 7. Number 3 is 9. And they have very little backlinks pointing to their pages. It looks definitely doable. So what I'm doing as well is I'm opening my competitors' URLs and getting a feel for the site that they're building, how much effort they're putting into it, how many words, etc. So in this case, the first one is Fish Finder Source. Domain rating is 17. It has 375 linking root domains to the entire site. A lot of them are crappy, to be honest. And the blog post has around 1,000 words. It's an average Amazon Associated article. It's not terrible. It doesn't have a lot of links pointing to this page. The domain rating is low. It's definitely beatable. They are like not the absolute easiest. I've seen worse, but it's quite doable. The second one is bestfishingtackle.com, domain rating 7, which is extremely low. I mean, I could have this domain rating in like a couple of weeks easily. 65 links pointing to the site, 1,227 words to this page. It's really average. It's really nothing special. As you can see, it looks like they just put a stock theme on there and it's just been rolling. And well, they're making money, so I think I can beat that. And 3 is a generalist review site called topreviewsguide.com, domain rating 9, also very low, 69 link root domains. And it's interesting because I think he's modeled after 10beasts.com, which is a case study site by nichepie.com. He has been making a lot of money, but this site is not very good, not making a lot of money. He might be reading Authority Hacker, this site as well, because the ad placement, the theme he's using, etc., tells me that he's been reading us. He won't be hard to beat because he doesn't specialize. He just reviews absolutely everything. And so I would make a more niche site focused on fishing. So I could beat it. Plus, it has low authority, so it's really not hard to beat number 3. So I would establish that I could land in top 3 quite quickly. Number 1, it would take maybe a few months, but I would probably get there. So now I have answered all 3 questions for the fishing niche. Can I find items that sell for money and I can get paid for? Yes. Are there people on Google looking for these items? Yes. Can I realistically beat these people for these keywords? Yes. Obviously, you should do this for more than one keyword to establish like how good a niche is and to get to know your competition. But when you get to a yes multiple times, looking at maybe I would have been going into fishing nets and that kind of stuff and look at how difficult it would be. Once you've said yes multiple times for a single niche, then you can go for it. It's definitely doable to make money in that niche. I know a lot of people will have second thoughts about this. They will think there's some kind of secret sauce to niche selection. Really, there isn't. It's just you need to be confident in the business model. You need to look at the competition. You need to look at how the numbers look and if you realistically can show up there. And most importantly, you need to understand how you will make money before you start your site, where the buyers come from, etc. That's it. It's really not more complicated than that. So usually when we finish niche selection, we get people really excited and they're like, oh, let's build the site. Let's go. Let's do it. Well, not so fast. Many people make that mistake. When they pick the niche, they go and they buy hosting, they buy tools, they spend money, they spend ages picking a WordPress theme, and they fail. Now, the next step is not building the site. The next step is planning your site very carefully, because front-loading the planning means you're going to be saving money, and have a more precise idea to the business model and think more about it and validate it, right? So if you're having second thoughts, like if you have been going a little bit fast on niche selection, which a lot of people do, you can, revalidate that by planning every single page on your site and be like, okay, now I have a full vision of my site. Does it make sense? Can it actually make money? And if yes, then actually spend the money and build it. If no, then you can still cancel things, and the only thing you've lost is time. So the goal for this step is that we want an exact plan of what's coming up for the site. And I mean every single page of what we call the version 1 of your website, the V1, the initial release of your website. And that means every keyword you're going to attempt to rank for, everything up until the point where it is a profitable venture. And the goal is to build a sitemap like you see on the screen right now, with every single page listed like this. In that case, I didn't do every page for the site. I just did one category, which is the reels, and I zoomed into bait casting, and then I actually found interesting keywords inside baitcasting reels, and that's how I did it. And then I planned some informational content like we do for our stage 1 site. But what you want to build a mind map for this site so that it's just very precise what you're going to be building before you get to build anything. It's kind of like building a house. You need a plan first. So the first step to building your sitemap is to make a big list of competitors in a Google spreadsheet. It's free to use. You should do it. It's going to be massively useful for keyword research, and it's going to help you find essentially the best keywords that you should put in your sitemap, the ones that you have the most chances to rank for initially. Keep it simple. I only rate the domain name and the domain rating and the estimated traffic from Ahrefs. If you don't have Ahrefs, you can still do it with the free Mossbar and tools like SimilarWeb.com. I would recommend you list 30 to 40 sites in your niche. Is really going to be useful. So how do you find competitors if you don't know your niche very well? Well, what you need to do is you need to look for keywords, the sites that you already found in your preliminary research rank for, and you just put them in Ahrefs, and it gives you the keywords that this site ranks for, and you can just find small sites that are competing with them on the various keywords that they rank for. And so I can fill my spreadsheet very, very quickly. So for example, in this screenshot that you see on the screen right now, I put fisherpants.com, which is one of the sites I found in my research, and I found all the other sites that I highlighted in the screenshot just by checking the other sites that ranked for best spincast reel. And all of these are quite low domain rating, and I know I can be competing with them. So I've added Southdoors, Reel Chase, Bass Fisherman Guide, and bcfishingjournal.com into my spreadsheet. So that's essentially the first step. First step is build your competitor spreadsheet. Now, before we jump into the actual keyword research tactics, we need to talk about one thing that very few people consider. It's editorial balance. Do you remember the stage 1 site diagram that I showed you at the beginning? There's essentially two types of content. There's the content that sells, that makes money, and the content that essentially doesn't sell, the informational content. The content that sells is the best X for Y and the product reviews, and the content that does not sell is the big ultimate guides. Guides are here to acquire links to our site and to lift the authority of the site so that all the content that sells actually ranks. Now the question is, to make your site rank, you need to think about how much content that sells and how much content that helps you rank do you need. Usually for stage 1 sites, we go 80-20. 80% of content that sells to maximize the revenue, and some of it is going to fail, some of it is going to hit. And if you do around 40-50 pages on your site, you can definitely get some hits at 80%. And 20% of the content that we create does not sell anything and is only here for links. And keyword research will be massively different for these types of content, so it's quite important that we talk about this editorial balance. If you remember the sitemap that I showed you earlier, you can see the breakdown between the sales content, which is on top, and the links content, which is at the bottom. In that case, I'm missing a little bit of links content. So if I wanted to plan more content for my site, I would do more guides in that case. So now let's jump into proper keyword research and sitemap building. Before we get in it, I'll share with you the tool that I'm using to do my sitemaps. It's called Dynalyst.io. It's very good. It's 100% free. There is a desktop client. I love it. You should really consider using it to build your sitemap. And first, let's talk about the content for links, which is the 20% of content we're going to create for our stage 1 site. As I said, those links will help the site rank in Google quite quickly. The tactic is fairly simple. First, find content that has a lot of links in your niche. 2, make a more updated version / better looking version of it. 3, reach out to the people that link to content similar to that piece and ask them for a link. Don't worry, we have ways of speeding up that process to make it easy, and it's coming. But first, the content. This is what we need to even start building links. In this case, I took infisherman.com and put it in the Content Explorer in Ahrefs, which is one of the options on the top menu. I then sorted the results by referring domains, which is the pages that have the most links show up on top. And by sorting it out, not all articles were relevant. Some of them were a little bit too specific, like some about Illinois and so on. But I found 2 articles that were very interesting for the kind of content I'm looking to create. First, one that is the best fishing times, and it's essentially a calendar that tells people when they should be fishing. And the second piece I found is the 10 top fishing weather conditions that affect your fishing results, essentially. So these are 2 pieces of content. The first one got 109 links. The second one got 22. And so these are pieces of content that I would consider building on my site to attract links to it. For the keywords I should be targeting with these pieces of content, I just expand the details below and look at the big ones. In that case, the main keyword would probably be fishing calendar. I would be targeting that keyword for that piece of content. And actually, they even give you the people that you should be reaching out to. These are the people that link to this page. So there's 108 of those. But I'll show you how to do this later. Actually, when I type fishing calendar into Google and I check the top 10 results, I see that in total there is 696 linking root domain opportunities. So that is a great content folding topic. If I create a really good fishing calendar on my site, I can reach out to probably 1,000 people if I dig a little bit deeper. And even if 5% link to me, that's 50 links to my website. So that's quite a lot, and it's already more than some of the competitors that we found earlier for these non-competitive keywords. So really, it's quite possible that I could outrank them with a single piece of content for links. So that is the strategy that I recommend to brainstorm your content for links for your sitemap. Now, it's all cool, but once again, let's think about money, because that's how I pay my bills. So how do we find money keywords? Well, you start again with what you want to sell. So I'm back on Amazon, and I'm going to be checking Reels this time just to vary a bit and show you different examples. Then I throw it into the Keyword Explorer, add a modifier. In this case, I've added best, so only keywords that include best to check the results. And I like the keyword best bait casting reel because it's low competition and the volume is interesting. I mean, you can see that there is 500 searches. That's quite decent already. So I zoom in, I check the competition, and yep, the number 1 result has 12 backlinks on a domain that's domain rating 9, which is really, really low. And there's 5 more domains below domain rating 20 on the first page. Most pages have basically no links. I could probably go after that. So that's basically what I do. I find my product, I try to find related keywords on Ahrefs, and I rinse and repeat. Essentially, as I find the good ones, I fill my sitemap until I have my 80-20 ratio based on the number of pages I want to create for my first version of my site. Once you have your sitemap, it's now finally time to get into site building. Nowadays, building sites is very easy. You shouldn't be afraid by the tech. You can drag and drop, and you don't really need any coding or HTML knowledge, as you can see on the slide right now. But before you actually get to building the actual site, one thing that you need is to build some kind of branding for your site. You need an identity for your business. Your brand will make you look trustworthy when you outreach, meaning that you will get more conversion for all the marketing that you do with a decent branding. And you'll probably stand out from the gazillion of other websites in your niche by looking a little bit more pro. Additionally, the people that actually visit your site, they think you're more trustable, and therefore they'll click more on your affiliate links and you'll make more money. So really, it's really worth it to spend a little bit of time on branding, nothing too crazy. But the question that people ask, especially when they've never done marketing, is how do I build a brand? And really, you need 3 things to build a brand identity online. You need brand colors, you need a brand font, 1 or 2, and you need a logo. That's basically the 80-20 of building your brand. You could spend days and thousands of dollars, but really you don't need to. You just need these 3 things. And let me show you little hacks to just get these together. First, for the colors, all you need to do is piggyback right the work of other companies and the work that they've paid so much for. They've hired designers, they've hired really, really good branding teams to, put together brand colors, and colors cannot be copyrighted, right? So you can steal colors from another company. I don't recommend you steal the colors from another company in your niche because that would be very obvious. But if you pick the colors from, let's say, Adobe, for example, in your brand, well, and you have a phishing site, nobody's gonna know that it's Adobe's colors. People won't even recognize it. So it's totally worth it, and it's completely fair game as well. Now for the fonts, once again, just piggyback right the work of other people, go on fontpair.co, and you can just pick fonts that go together. It's done for you, and they will give you the fonts that you should be using for your branding. For the logo, what I tend to do is I tend to go on fiverr.com. There are really good logo designers, and it's by far the cheapest place where you can get a logo done, and it's, you know, looks pro. In this case, it's $50 for a logo, not a lot of money, and totally worth it to look like professional. So now that we're done with the branding, let's talk about the technical side of things to set up a website. This is how you structure building a website. Don't worry, it's not that complicated. First of all, you have a domain name. So in that case for us, we're called authorityhacker.com. This is our domain name, right? Then when you buy this domain name, you point it to a hosting company. The hosting company is the company that will have the computers that have the files of your website and essentially serve them at any time of the day or night. So you can't have your website on your computer. You need to pay someone to do that. Then you point that domain to the hosting. Then once you have the servers rented from a company, and you see it's very easy, you install the operating system of your website. In this case, it's going to be WordPress. It is by far the most used CMS in the world, and it's very, very easy to use. Then once you have the operating system up, all you need to do is install a theme on your system so that you decide the look of your site. I'm going to also give you free alternatives for that. And then once you have your theme and you've decided the look, you can add functionalities to your site with plugins. And this is the last step. Essentially, it's things like share buttons, things like contact form. These are done via plugins. So that's how we're going to set it up. I'm going to walk you through step by step right now. So we're going to be using WordPress. 26.3% of the top 10,000 sites in the world use WordPress. It's very secure, and it's 100% free as well. In terms of hosting, we use SiteGround. We recommend SiteGround for people starting out. It is by far better than Bluehost or whatever other bloggers are recommending. It doesn't pay as much. I'm not even putting my affiliate link here, but it is what we recommend to people that follow us. And you can one-click install WordPress on SiteGround, so it's very easy. It costs something like $3 a month or something. It's not very expensive. Now, when it comes to the theme, we recommend you use GeneratePress. GeneratePress is essentially a very bare-bone theme that works very well on mobile, which is not the case of every WordPress theme, and it makes your site very fast. It's very lightweight. It's very easy to use. It has a lot of customization options. And once again, it's free, so it's kind of good if you're budget conscious. This is actually the theme that we use for the new version of healthambition.com that we put online a couple months ago now, and it is working wonderfully well, much better than the version that we had before. If you want a drag and drop builder like the one I showed on the initial slide, you can use something like Elementor or Thrive Architect. I used to love Thrive Architect. I tend to love Elementor a little bit more these days, especially with the new theme builder that they have released. It's super sexy. You can essentially completely edit any part of your site with drag and drop, which is wonderful and was not possible until now, so I highly recommend it. In terms of extra plugins, if you're going to be doing Amazon affiliates, I recommend AAWP. You can get it on getaawp.com. It is what we use to do the Amazon widgets on Health Ambition. It's a really professional way of displaying affiliate offers on your website when they are coming from Amazon. So highly, highly recommended. And Yoast SEO is also a plugin we use. Sometimes it's good, sometimes but it tends to not be as good as it used to be, but hey, we still use it, so I'm going to share it with you today. We use it to optimize the meta tags of our Health Ambition posts, so that's what I recommend that you use. Now, in terms of site building, and I can't really show you too much on PowerPoint here, but if you want to be building the sitemap that you've been planning earlier, you just need to do it with WordPress categories. As you can see, we do it on Health Ambition here. You have beauty, then a subcategory, which is hair and nails. We have also under hair and nails, we have gray hair, hair loss, hair removal, etc. So essentially, we're following the same logic of the sitemap when we build our sites with categories now. And if you want to design these category pages to make them more personalized, then that's when we use the new Elementor theme builder. It's really, really powerful, and you can basically make any category page look the way you want. Really, really good and easy setup. Hard to show more on PowerPoint because we're on PowerPoint, but if you want to see me build sites live, I'll show you an alternative at the end of this webinar. So once you've created your categories and you have essentially rebuilt your sitemap on your basic WordPress site that you're hosting on SiteGround, that's when we get to content creation, because your site now has no content. It exists, you have planning, you have everything. we have a skeleton essentially, but now we need to put content on it. Now, blog writing at a professional level is all about content formats, meaning repeatable processes that you can do again and again and again. And we briefly mentioned the templates when we talked about the stages. Remember when I did stage 1, best text for why, product review, ultimate guides, those are all content templates. And you can see real life examples on healthambition.com, for example. What is the best women's electric razor in 2018 is a best text for why. Fat loss factor review is a single product review. Caffeine addiction, myth or reality is a ultimate guide / skyscraper article. So you can see that we use these templates in real life, and you'll find dozens of these types of articles on Health Ambition plus more types because we're in stage 3 right now. So I'm going to take one of these templates and kind of like zoom in to show you what you can expect from a content template. What is a single review? Essentially a post that reviews a specific product. The people that read it will probably already be interested in the product, or they will be followers of your site. It's either way. The suggested word count is 1,500 words to 2,500 words, and the keyword types that you target for this kind of posts is product name plus review, product name plus review, product tutorial, product versus alternative, product coupon, etc. And really this relies pretty much entirely on SEO, and the goal is to make an affiliate sale. So once again, I did a real life example here for you. I went on clickbank.com and I found a product called Ted's Woodworking, which is a big woodworking affiliate offer. They pay $62 per sale, so it's pretty interesting if I manage to rank for it. And what I did, once again, I put the name of the product inside Ahrefs. The difficulty is low, the volume is high, so it's definitely looking like an interesting topic. And then what I wanted to have is I wanted to have my template ready so the writers know exactly how to write the article if you have a writer, and I'll show you how to get one. All your articles consistently, have the same format, which is part of your branding experience as well. And templates also help kind of like aligning your vision of the content with what the writer is going to write. If you make it too short, it's hard to convey what you want to your writer. And when you spend less time editing the content they send you, you essentially save money, so it's totally worth it. And whenever you can, really, you should try to provide the product to the writer, right? So let's zoom in our single product review template. And I'm going to go quickly, but essentially that's what a template for a piece of content looks like. You can see there's the description for the post, there is examples of articles, there is site information for the writer if they don't know about the site, so the market you're in, the philosophy of the site, the product reviewed, the general stance towards the product from the editor, so do you like it, do you not like it, do you think it's good or bad. If the author is ghostwriting, you put also the name of the person they will write as, the gender, the age, a little bit of bio, and then there's a bunch of essentially editorial information for people to follow, like don't use salesy language, go simple, use the first person and second person, never mention reviewers professional, no salesy language, no filler language, and then we actually break down the actual parts of the article. So first the introduction, we're like 50 to 75 words, emphasize with the reader, try to essentially be in their shoes. Section 2, things to consider before buying, product category, so like kind of like informational piece on like what you should consider before you buy. Section 3, presenting the product, so talking about what's inside, describing the contents, etc. Section 4, what is good, what is bad. Section 5, social proof, what people say about them on the internet. Section 6, alternatives, so things that people could buy instead to feel the same need. Section 7, conclusion. So essentially that is what our writing templates look like. If you haven't taken a screenshot, I'll actually make this as part of the goodie bag at the end, so you'll be able to find this. And that is what you want for every type of content you have on your site. And then once you have these templates ready, what you want is you want to build an editorial machine. And for this, we recommend you use Trello.com, which is a free to-do system. You can put all your brainstormed ideas in Trello from your spreadsheet or from your sitemap. And then when you're ready to write about it, you move it to to draft section. You can either outsource the content to someone else, you can assign it to someone else. And then when the writer is done, you essentially upload it to the card, you put it in the to edit section. When you are done editing it, you have the formatting / uploading column. And then when you're done, you can essentially archive the card. So it's pretty much a very simple to-do system for your editorial calendar, and it's 100% free as well. And I was talking about editorial calendar. Trello does have a calendar function in it, so it's really cool because you can actually see, how often you want to post, and you can adjust your editorial calendar that way. So yeah, highly recommended that you work on templates plus an editorial calendar on Trello. Now, I know a lot of people want to hear about outsourcing content, so I'm going to show you really quickly. We're already running out of time for this webinar, and I still have a lot to cover, so let's get going. But the first thing I think you should do is you should write the first 10 articles. Don't start outsourcing right away, because writing the first 10 articles is what allows you to set the tone for your website and to give a benchmark to the writers you're going to be hiring. So you can be like, this is what I expect. This is the level of quality I expect. And every time they send something to you, you can compare it to the article, the benchmark that you gave them. And then it's pretty obvious whether it's on the same level or not. And then if it's not, then you can send it back for revisions. And usually the writers have to work harder, which does happen pretty frequently when you outsource content. Plus, it gets you to actually learn about the niche. And I really recommend that you don't compromise when you outsource content. It will happen very often that writers will cut corners, but you need to understand that your content is your product when you're a stage 1 site, and you want your product to be as good as possible if you want to stand out and if you want to grow as a website. Crap content websites don't do well. One thing that we have noticed, though, is that paying writers more after 2.5 cents per word is not really correlating with higher quality. It's just about screening the people. So it doesn't mean you have to pay a lot. It just means you have to be screening for writers. But do expect to edit the content that you receive, especially at the beginning. Now, I'm going to show you an easy way of outsourcing content, and that's going to be using textbroker.com. So we have a strategy for textbroker.com as well that you can be using. Essentially, Textbroker has an option called open orders, which gives your content orders to writers that